Alright, so mixed raid army. I have 18 Faebreak ready raid armies since they released Demon God. Turned into 18, now not breeding anymore before Tides of Terraria. Then I have my two different rescue pals, the Phalaris Aqua. Whoops. Where's the hotkey? No hotkey? There we go, Summon Pal. So then we have the Phalaris Aqua and the Rio as rescue pals and as raid pals. So that's a duplicate one. And we have two different Bastigors, one Meteor Rain version and one Double Blizzard Spike version. So I thought I'd include that as well for the even 20 raid army. So not my usual raiding with 15. This is more old school. This is like the Libro pre-Sakurajima raiding with 20 raid pals. Since then went down to 15 and then back down to 13 as my default raid army size, just because of having these two rescue pals. So this is a little bit of a test with having these two rescue pals. Phalaris Aqua putting out fires and then rescuing, and then Rio just doing normal rescuing. You will see throughout the fight that Xenolord lights the beds on fire, and he also lights the pals on fire, but Phalaris Aqua can't do much about that. But Phalaris Aqua will instead fly around and put out the beds, which is a little bit of a benefit because you have these pals that are not fire being rescued, and they have a sort of 50-50 to just get instantly burnt by a burning bed and die on the first tick of healing. And then they need to get rescued again. They have double the risk of getting stuck in the bed. With each time they get revived, there's a bug that they get stuck. As you saw, I reset the Jigness at the start of the fight. So I'm mostly going to be doing some of that. Resetting pals that are stuck in the pal pods. And just seeing kind of how it all behaves. So it's a mix of pals, as mentioned. Not everyone will be fire that you probably want. And then they get rescued to the bed. You have to reset them sometimes. Like this a little bit, but we'll see if they can sort of compete. They are 20 pals or 18 pals, usually raiding with 13 as mentioned, so the DPS should be fine. It could be a bit of an issue against Xenolord Ultra, since there's like a Chikipi and a Mimog and a Lootmonk Christ and stuff like that. They might struggle a little bit with DPS, and I'm worried that the Phalaris Aqua just won't do any rescuing at all. It will just fly around putting out fires. So it depends a little bit on how the Rio acts. But for me, I'm just running like a Xenolord Ultra bed and breakfast here. I'm feeding the pals. I'm going to bed, so it's an early morning raid, so I don't get rescue pals stuck. And here we saw the Astagon didn't want to do the reset with lifting, so this one you have to reset. Usually I try to avoid resetting the pal box for two reasons. One, it resets all the abilities cooldown, so it feels a bit like cheating because you just get like instantly they will holy burst again. Otherwise you need to wait for the cooldown, so it's a bit of a cheesy way of just doing an insane amount of damage. And the second part is the separate bug with the pal pods is sometimes when they do get out of bed, or you help them out of bed, they keep that 10% per second healing. So hopefully when I reset this way, instead of resetting at the pal box, first they don't stack up, which is nice. They don't just stack up at the pal box. And the second thing is they might keep that 10% per second healing effect, which is a pretty big benefit. Then it's mostly, as long as they don't get one shot, they will just heal up to full again. And that just again reduces the amount of times they need to get revived. So some pals still get one shot from 100%, doesn't really matter there. But for the pals that survive with like 10% left, and then 9 seconds later they have full health, makes it an overall smoother fight. A little bit of struggle with the ads here. A little bit of a choice as well with where I built my pal pod. So usually I build them along the edge of the base in the circle, just circling around the base, but sometimes that leads to Xenolord kind of running outside the base to target a pal that gets rescued. And if he's standing outside the base, then all your pals tend to follow. Then they all start dropping or getting incapacitated outside the base, and you need to push them back in. Big holy burst there. I think I'm gonna take the time to help my rescue pal a little bit, so you can land, you can have your Frostallion or whatever you're using, just do a little bit of rescuing. Since it's not affected by sanity, it can be a good way to ensure, like, if you're having some bad luck and your rescue pals go down for some reason, you can rescue your rescue pals, or you can just help them along if they take a break or whatever. Just set turn off combat for your party pal as well. You don't need to do it in the monitoring stand, just that radial menu. And then maybe withdraw dodge it if if it looks like it's going down from something random. But Xenolord won't target it by itself. But since it's just running around rescuing, it might get hit by these random blast cannons or meteor slicers or whatever. So just a little help there. Normally you don't want to be doing a lot of manual rescuing mid-fight. It just doesn't add a lot of DPS compared to like you doing it yourself. Normally it's fine to just accept that like 4 to 5 pals will be stuck in the pal pods, and you just accept that kinda. It's not being rescued right now. My rescue pals might be taking a break. Maybe I'll have to do it myself. Okay, they fixed it. Nice. Nice. Let's get out of here. I don't have a whole lot of health left. It would be ironic if I went down. But yeah, now I'm just watching the pals fight, because I kinda wanted to do that with this mixed raid army, not adding my own DPS. It's kind of a struggle, or not a struggle, but it's a thing when I'm doing these kind of videos. Like, I don't want to be doing a whole lot of shooting myself, because then you don't actually get to see what's happening in the fight. So around 4 minutes left on the clock with this mixed raid army. A little bit cheating since I'm using a couple of extra DPS pals, but with Mimogs and Loop Moons and everything mixed in there, I think that's a very respectable time. Then I did have to do a lot of manual rescuing as well. So this is a good showcase for why I did that Xenolord tournament, my 18 raid armies against the regular Xenolord. So against Ultra you need the pal pods, then you just get a lot of this random pal pods bugs. Sometimes you get all raid pals infinite healing, none of them stuck in the bed. And sometimes you get like these really bad runs. So it wouldn't have been a totally fair comparison on all my raid army pals. But you can see here a mix of Meteor Rain pals. I think I had 7 of them with Meteor Rain in the end, which is kind of what you want on your regular army as well. It is a little bit of a hassle to breed like 20 different pals. It's just so much easier to breed 15 or 13 or whatever of the same pal. But using mixed armies is pretty fun as well. I hope we get some more like reason for it, some synergy. Like if the raid boss only targets the closest pal, let's do some rescuing here. If he only targets the closest pal, you could have some getting up close defense stacked pal for tanking, like if Lylene healed pals, whatever, and the Chickpea immediately died. So that's a pretty good example for this. Why do you want fire pals? Like, why do you want Rio died again? That's why you want Rio or pretty much Jignes against Xenolord and or mostly Xenolord Ultra. It's just because when they are getting rescued, they might just die to a burning bed immediately. That doesn't happen with the fire pals. So it's just a lot better with your rescue combo to use a fire pal. It ends up just being faster, even if other pals have higher DPS. They just die a little bit less when being rescued. So it's mostly a pal pod thing. And here, a couple of, I think it was 7 Meteoring pals in the mix there. So always good to keep in mind. So that's it for this mixed raid army against Xenolord Ultra. Thanks for watching.